video by Ask the Light Designer. Today we are going to discuss about the RGB effect in DIALux Evo. The first time I came across an RGB effect was in Izzat Barudi's blog, and truly he has been a mentor for me, although we have met quite less in person, but his material online has been very helpful to get me started with DIALux and lighting design. So when we go to the weblog, here is where I come across the first time, and where he discussed about the capability of using the RGB effect when you are using a ULD file. So basically a DIALux plug-in where you plug in this case he was using an Erco luminaire Trayon, and the benefit of this was you can select the luminaire and individually input the RGB numbers that you want and have a beautiful effect. I shared this one with one of my students. He came back to me saying that his plugin does not has the RGB option. So what can he do now? In this case, we will create a simple room, and we'll go through how we can utilize a RGB effect, or how we can create the RGB effect when we don't have a ULD file or a file like standard LDT file or IS file, something like that. So first we need to create a room. So in this case we are creating a sample room. Then I will go on to the light section and I will just import any luminaire. I would prefer an LED luminaire because the RGB effect is much more better in an LED luminaire. So I just go out, and that's good for me. So I will select a downlight and just put a random arrangement, like a general room arrangement. The point of this tutorial is to understand the RGB effect and how we can use it. So I'm not going into the details of how we can insert the luminaires or how we can create the rooms. You can go out to the other tutorials for that. So here we have the luminaires. Now there is two methods forward. Note that this is not an RGB luminaire. So when I select an individual luminaire and go to the lamp or the filter, I cannot do anything because this is a standard luminaire. Even in the control group you can see, because it is a standard luminaire, I cannot do anything to this luminaire, LDT and IS file. But if you know your luminaire can perform in RGB, but your factory or the module that you received the IS file or LDT file only, there is a caveat. There is a way you can reproduce the results, but this is applicable if you know that your luminaires can create this effect. So we don't want to end up with creating the effect but then not able to supply to the client. So let's go ahead and create the effect. As I mentioned, there is two ways to create the RGB effect. The first one is by selecting so we'll go over here and we'll go to LED lamp. Now in the LED lamp you have the option of selecting a color for the LED. You have the warm white, the neutral white and the cool white, but then you also have the red, green and blue. Again, this is an option in DIALux for the LEDs because the LED comes in multicolor ranges. We do have they don't have the fluorescent, although, so it's more like a color appearance, but they don't have an exact color rendering. Same goes with incandescent, but for LED we have the color. So let's select red color and apply, and then we will also try to apply the LED and a green color for this area, and then we'll just select all the other luminaires and put it in a different control group, so we can alter the control groups. So there we go, we have two control groups. The reason is, you will see ahead that this is to highlight the color effect. Now we'll go and just enter calculation. Wait. There we go. So we are done with the calculation. Let's not focus on the color. Now you see the light effect is very clear. Now we can see the red, and so we'll go to the room and you can see the red and the blue color effect of the red and the blue. Now what we also want to do is, maybe we'll change this to the red. Let's see. So we will change these to what we have, the lamp. Sorry, I think we did not change this. Oh yes, my mistake. We did not change this to a, so let's change it to green and apply, and yes. So now to understand the effect more, we will just dim these other luminaires. So we will reduce it to 0, and then we will go ahead and create the lighting calculation. And we should have the results. Yes. So there you see the red and the green effect. So if you are aware that your luminaire can perform in RGB mode, you can go ahead, import the luminaires. You will do as normally, put them inside the whatever area you are working with. Go to the lamps, select your luminaire. So select your luminaire, select lamp type to LED, then change your spectrum data, go to LED, select which other color you want and apply. Don't forget to apply, because if you don't apply, it will not be input, so it will still remain same. And finally, voila, you have your RGB effect. Now there is one more method, as I mentioned, that we also have one more method to go around with this. This is more of a high-end method, and you can go ahead with a high-end method. This is mostly in terms of stage lighting, in terms of projector lighting for special applications, where we are using filters. So there you go, you have the filter. You go to the select and you apply a filter. Now in this case, you need to know your filter number, because, and also you need to understand how your light will affect. For example, if I'm using this filter, how much, so it's a bit more complex scenario, but this is another option which is available where you can change. So you have a filter catalog completely, where you can use the different filters. You have the completely beautiful, like a wide range of filters available in DIALux. But remember, all these details will be applicable when you understand what the filter is. So for example, I'll just go ahead and apply the green filter. Now again, you see the green peak and how much light will come out of it, the transmittance. This is, as I mentioned, a advanced level of lighting. So we'll just highlight this to 100%. I want to run the calculation so I can show you that this is another method possible, but keep in mind this is an advanced level where we need to understand the filters and how the light will react in the filters. But as you can see, I have the green filter. So this is another method in which you can have your RGB effect. So there you go. These are the two methods to have RGB. Let me just go ahead. So there you go. You have the two methods to have RGB. One is where you are putting the red and green filters. The other is where you are having the RGB LED selected. So either you can use the filters, which is an advanced method, and I would not recommend anyone to use it unless you are in stage management field or lighting design for functions where you understand much better. In general, for a normal scenario, if you have an LDT or an IS file, go ahead, import the luminaire, insert the luminaires, go to the lamp, select your luminaire, go to the lamp spectrum, change the spectrum to LED and whichever LED you want to use. Hope this was helpful to you, and for any further lighting design tutorials, don't forget to subscribe our channel, and we look forward to bringing more beneficial knowledge. Signing off.